We're live. Good morning, everyone. And those of you online, good morning and welcome. Thank you all for taking time to be here with us and spend your morning with myself and these amazing middle school students. And to learn about a component of that makes us as a Montessori middle school program so unique. So I'll start with some introductions. My name is Alex Abel. I serve the Post Oak community as the middle school director. I am Montessori trained at the primary and elementary levels, and I'm currently working towards my adolescent certification as well. Before joining the Post Oak community, I spent a number of years in with a couple of public charter Montessori schools in Austin. And I am also a parent of the community, which I frequently forget, and Maura has to remind me. My son, Mateo, is here at the BC in upper elementary, and my daughter, Kiara, is over at the MDC in high school. So I'll let these wonderful middle school students introduce themselves, and then the rest of us can introduce ourselves as well.
All right. Hi, my name is Gala. I've been with Post Oak since 7th grade. I am going to be talking about land experience with all of you. I've had a wonderful time so far. I was previously at Poe Elementary and Linear, so I was a public school kid up until 7th grade. I'm going to have a really awesome time talking to you guys about a new experience. So since I'm, I guess, more of a new student, I guess I have more of kind of an good differentiating of two different types of environments. So yeah.
Hi, I'm Allie. I've been at the Post Oak community my entire life. A lot of the faculty and teachers know me. I have two siblings, a brother who is at the high school right now, and a sister who is actually the first life student of the Post Oak community. So that's very fun. I'm going to be talking about service learning and what we do while we're outside helping other communities.
Hi, my name is Mbika. I've been here also my entire life. I had a brother who was here, but now is in college. And I love this place because it's really fun. And I'm talking about humanities outings.
All right, so I'm going to start us off by very briefly sharing some general Montessori theory so you can see how we get to what we do at the middle school level. And then after that, I'm going to turn it over to our middle school students, and they're going to talk with you more about the specific aspects, as they mentioned, of how what we do here at Post Oak allows us to move beyond our four walls on a regular basis. And then we'll have time for questions and conversation, thoughts, sharing. So I'm going to start us off with a Montessori quote. It's from the Citizens of the World. And when writing to teachers, Montessori said, "It is not enough to provide material for the child to work in school. He demands to go out into the world. Besides material, the school should provide also guides so that the child can go and find the material for himself. We have provided the schools and the material. They are not enough. He requires exploring the physical world and society." So as you can see, Montessori educators are charged with this grand task of allowing the child and the adolescent to explore their physical world and society, and that is very big work. And here at Post Oak, all throughout a Montessori, and all throughout a Montessori education, we start to prepare our children for becoming citizens of the world, beginning in early childhood. At the YCC and primary levels, this preparation comes through all of the experiences that are offered in the prepared environment. The young child is known for their absorbent mind, and so they're always taking everything in. They're interested in understanding their world from a place of being able to function in it as independent members and individual members of their society. So the goal is to support them in being that functional, independent being as a member of their community. So from the beginning that a child enters into our prepared environments, we're supporting them through are activities in practical life that help with acquiring skills that aid them in being independent. We're enriching their vocabulary by helping them to name things and objects that are a part of their world that they'll see in everyday life outside of the world. And we help them acquire and be able to eventually abstract concepts by providing them with really special sensorial materials that help them to be able to internalize aspects such as color that then they can apply when they're outside in their world and see things outside of their community. So at the young age, it starts within the classroom. When we get to the elementary years, the preparation comes through the cosmic education. And by cosmic, we're referring to the cosmos or the universe. So we give the universe to the child. And at 6 years old, we have a new child in front of us, and this child is ready to start exercising their mental powers. They're incredibly curious about everything and want to know about all the hows and whys of the world. So we give them that world by providing now a dual classroom. So not just within the classroom, but then we're starting to extend that environment to the outside world. And so we're starting to help them to be in touch with society through like going out programs, helping them to get curious, like when they're curious about something very specific, we bring in experts for them to interact with. We take them out into nature and do a lot of work outside of the classroom through gardening that allows them to kind of experience the world outside of the classroom as well. They're also social beings, and they're ready to start practicing how to be social and how to be a contributing member of society in a little bit of a different way than the 3-year-old was. And so we start to scaffold that by giving them the opportunity to kind of create practice societies within the classroom so they can start learning how to interact with each other. And then at the adolescent level, we have these wonderful beings who are sitting with me today. They are interested in participating in society as the adults that they aspire to be. They're starting to leave their childhood behind, and they're beginning to think more about their future and what that means for them. They're interested in applying all the skills that they have acquired through the experiences that they have as young children and then elementary children. And they want to apply those skills in a way that is meaningful and purposeful. And they're interested in seeing the benefits of why they do what they do. And they need that feedback about how what they do has an impact on their own self-esteem and their community. And so it kind of shifts a little bit in the adolescent community where now the student has a different relationship with the adult, and the adult becomes more of a partner in the work with them. They're looking to the adult as models to understand their world in a different way. And so we go out into the community a whole lot more and learn from our community. We observe our community. The Post Oak MDC campus was intentionally placed in that very busy area of Houston where we can have access to the museums. We have access to the Glassell. We have access to a very diverse community where we can explore experts and bring in experts. And then we also have very intentional parts of our program that allow the adolescents to go out into the community and serve the community. So I'll turn it over to Mbika.
So at the beginning of the year, the first unit we studied was the fundamental needs unit. So once we did our research on all of the different branches of fundamental needs, we went on outings to see how the branches connected to each other. After I researched about Central America, I went to the Museum of Fine Arts Houston to see the arts that the Mayans made. Some other outings we will go on later this semester are D.C. for the Law and Government Unit, and in late April, we will go to Flagstaff, Arizona to learn more about the culture and the religions of the civilizations that once inhabited the area. I personally enjoy going on these outings because it helps me explore deeper into what I'm currently learning in humanities, and it's fun for me to bond with my friends.
So when we do service learning, first I'm going to tell you what service learning is. So service learning is an opportunity for students from our community to help and serve people who might have trouble doing tasks that just they need to do in Houston. The students love going off campus to serve and help those people, and the smiles on the people's faces in the end is all worth it. How it happens is the teachers each send out a form of what they will be doing. There's a wide variety of different options, and the students select and get picked to do it. The options are animals. I was in animals last semester. You go to the company and bag cat food, dog food, and any other pets that they have and take it to their houses. These people might have problems walking, or they might have problems getting out of bed, so it's a lot of help. It's very helpful for them. They appreciate it a lot, and it's also an excitement for the students to see the pets and play with the dogs and cats. What I'm in this semester is Hopestone. We go to a place where senior citizens might have trouble with remembering. They might have Alzheimer's and that sort of situation, and we're actually the entertainment for them. So one thing that we're going to be doing this semester is drumming, and we actually start this Friday, which everyone is very excited about. House of Tiny Treasures is where students make cards, toys, and gifts for children who might have an undeserved background throughout their families or homes. Hope Farms is where students go to a community farm and they help them plant and grow crops where they can sell. Senior Connect is where the students get to chat on the phone with a selected senior citizen from a different home. And then the Wesley Community Center, where they go and sort and arrange food for people who might be in the 5th Ward.
So, hi, I'm going to be talking about land experience. Land experience, is essentially where students of the middle school go off campus to learn a more in-depth definition of what agriculture is in different parts of Houston. We go to places like Blackwood Farms, which is a learning farm where students experience hands-on learning with not only plants but animals. This farm specifies in more efficient farming for our community, so taking less of a hit to our carbon footprint and our CO2 emissions. And this teaches students how to have a more sustainable farming, even from the comfort of your own home and in your home garden. Then we have Hope Farms, like Ali mentioned, which serves the Sunnyside community, and they produce fresh fruits and vegetables to what would be called a food desert. So a food desert is basically a community that has very little fresh produce, and they are populated with a lot of fast food chains, and it's not very nutritious, but it's specifically planted there for the communities because it's cheaper. So Hope Farms essentially supplies the Sunnyside community with fresh ingredients that's really good for kids and people growing up so they can have healthy bones. And then finally we have Plant It Forward, which is a company that empowers refugees to develop sustainable urban farming businesses that produce fresh, healthy foods for our community. Their organization secures land, trains and mentors farmers, and facilitates sales to local markets. So it essentially takes refugees and has them grow different produce and then sell them and then make a profit for themselves. I know that when I went to Plant It Forward, it was very fun. One of the farmers that was there spoke like 6 different languages, and he taught us a bunch of things. We got to take home sugar cane. It was really fun. My mom grew up with sugar cane on her farm, and like bringing it to her was just really, really lovely. And a good thing about some of these is that places like Hopestone are available for service learning. So a lot of students get to visit that place very often, and they get to experience that very often, and that's obviously an option, and I think that's wonderful. And then on top of this, we also have A-terms. A-terms is a time in the middle school community where we get to experience more of our city. We're broken off into groups, separated by our teachers, learning different things with different peers. This is a time where we get to engage with each other, learn more about ourselves and our environment, and I guess take more time with students that we don't really talk to too often. So we're specifically paired into groups of students that maybe teachers find don't engage too much. I know as a whole, land experience, going out of school, going beyond the four walls, was not really something that I was offered when I went to public school. It was really kept within like, you have an arcade and you have a trampoline. You can choose. And it wasn't like grow your own food, learn about, climate change within farming and learn about sustainable agriculture. I think it was in this very tiny box. And I know that any student, whether it's from lower L or it's from any school really would really enjoy what we have to offer for land experience. So, yeah.
Thank you. I'm going to touch a little bit more on our A-term experience as well. So as Gala mentioned, it is a time when we intentionally take time to learn more about our Houston community and how we as a post-oak community interact within our Houston community. So most of the studies relate to learning about the history of that place. For example, Mr. McNally and I, who's our occupations guide, are thinking about providing a culinary experience of Houston through that A-term experience. So we'll look at all the diversity of foods that's within our area, learn potentially how to prepare those types of foods, learn about how those foods came to Houston, and the history behind how what makes Houston Houston, so that they can have an understanding of the place that we live in. So that's what we have to offer today.
Thank you for being a wonderful audience. I really appreciate it. You guys are so quiet. Even gold star.
Yeah, questions, thoughts, anything.
Okay, I'm going to ask a question of you guys. What do you think you gain or benefit from learning outside of the classroom?
I'll answer first, I guess. I think I learn, as for land experience, I think I learned, like I said, a lot about what my impact on like the food I eat and the food that we grow around it, what it has on the world in general and like the planet. I definitely learned how to work with nature instead of against it a lot of the time when I'm outside of, the school. As for service learning, I really do feel very grateful when I'm finished because I think to myself like, wow, I am able to serve these communities. I'm able to serve these people. And this is a part of like my school. This is a part of how I learn and how I retain knowledge. And as for humanities outings, I just really enjoy learning about history because I feel like going to Post Oak, it teaches you actual history and things that it's not cutting any corners, it's not taking anything out, it's not like extracting anything for students to, not learn in the future or something like that. I find that I learn the most, I gain the most, and I bring it with me pretty much in everyday life because, everybody has fruits and vegetables. Everybody is learning about history every day, and everybody is serving their community in some way, without even knowing it. So I feel like, yeah, that's how I gain.
For me, I've been at Post Oak all my life, and being in the elementary campus, there was not that I remember very much going off campus to places that we've gone in the Post-Oak community. So later this month, we might be going to Arizona or might be going to another state to help and serve and learn. And so being in the middle school is definitely a step up because we get to see so much more of like the world and get to go and visit it and really learn outside more. For a lot of different schools, I think that they're always just visually learning, but for us, it's like you get to like see and be there and like really learn and physically just like be active with it the entire time. So that's one of my favorite things that I've just grown up knowing about Post Oak, and being able to go and help other communities too is just like a wide range of learning that I don't really think you get in other like public schools or other just schools in general, really.
So something I would benefit from this was during the land experience trip, I learned more plants that I like never knew really existed. I learned how they grew, and I know like different like origins of where they came from. And I guess like Ali said, like over time through these years here at Post Oak, you definitely learn more and go deeper and hands-on in the environment.
Great.
Do you have any other questions?
Can you use that too? Can you talk a little more about was it the A terms? And how do you plan for that? Is that already planned in the curriculum? Are the children able to lead some of the, maybe have some choices?
Yeah. So when we think about our A terms, it's usually comes from the teachers, and the teachers propose different experiences that the students will be interested in. It's usually tied to curriculum, and like I said, it's tied to Houston. So it's focused on having an understanding of Houston as members of that community. Because most of our trips that we go to throughout the year, so we mentioned the DC trip that's tied to our law and government unit, the Flagstaff trip that's tied to our fundamental needs of humans unit. All of those experiences are tied to the humanities curriculum. And so that's centered around like history in some way. The A term gives us an opportunity to put our students in connection to their Houston community in more, it's more concentrated is the best word that I can come up with right now. So the teachers start the planning process. They propose the ideas and then bring the students on to participate in those experiences along with them. For example, we're getting ready to do our coastal experience trip, which is not tied to A term, but I'm just thinking of like an immediate piece because it's coming up. One of the experiences that we'll offer when we go to Galveston, which is we're partnering with Texas A&M to look at a different aspect of Houston, part of the ecology of Houston, which is the Gulf Coast. The students will kind of work alongside us to plan some meals as a part of that experience. So they're going to work with us to find a spot for us to have dinner. So when we do these traveling experiences, they do work alongside us in particular aspects, and we're actually scaffolding them for when they get to high school. I believe the students actually get to, at times, write proposals for offering J and A terms that they can then own even more. So it's scaffolded in that way. So at the middle school level, it's a little more teacher prepared, and the students come in in a more scaffolded way through helping, find lunch things. They might help find experts or calling and arranging appointments with places. That's more teacher driven, but then it's preparing for, in high school, they have the opportunities to make their own proposals and such, so.
Any other questions?
Or thoughts?
I want to be in the middle school. That's my thought. I would
I
like
love
to
the
go
middle
on all
school.
these trips and be out in Houston, and that's how I want to learn. But I'm really grateful for you guys coming today.
Thank you.
Awesome.
Thank you to all the folks who joined us online as well.
See you guys.